Applying to colleges is incredibly stressful, especially when you keep overthinking certain style choices or what to put in your application. But I'm here to help you because I've been through all of it and I think I've learned quite a lot on the way. So I want to share my experience with you and share with you guys today 20 tips, expert secret little tips on how to make your application stand out, but also how to make the best out of the application process for you. Let's get started. Tip number 1. Always preview your application before you send it in. So always when you fill it out on the Common App or wherever, just click preview, check if all the formatting is right, and then fix anything that might seem weird while reading it. You want your admissions officer to have an easy time reading your application, so they get out of the experience with good vibes. Tip number 2. When you write an essay, I know sometimes you get this like magical feeling that you just wrote the best essay in the world, and that's awesome, but consider waiting 4 to 5 days before you review it again, because that's when the magic kind of fades and you can read your essay in a more neutral kind of way, in a more objective way. And that's when you'll find the details that might need some changes. Typically, you need to add like full on edit your uh, essay, full on edit your essay at least 3 to 4 times, and only then I would give it to someone else to read. Because only when you have read your own essay 4 times with 4 to 5 days or more in between and you still liked it, then that means it's good, and then you can give it to someone else to read. Tip number 3. Submit your application a month before the deadline. Because colleges actually have quite a few extra scholarship opportunities, for example, or interview opportunities. But many times, more often than not, the deadlines for those kind of opportunities are before the regular application deadlines, and then you might miss out on great opportunities and free money and interviews and stuff. So make sure you submit your application extra early. Tip number 4. Attend as many virtual information sessions as you possibly can, because many schools track demonstrated interest, and that actually has a huge impact on your admissions decision. So if you're applying to one of those T20 schools or T50 schools, you have to show them that you like their school. That's so important. And also, knowing about the schools will help your application stand out, because admissions officers can tell whether you know your stuff. Okay, I have to change the battery. Okay, we're back. That's 6. Tip number 5. Do not neglect smaller school-specific essays. Those count just as much as your regular essay and are super important to give your application a certain extra texture to make it multidimensional. You want to impress them, and that's the way to do it. Tip number 6, this one is a little bit more specific, but when you're writing the why us essay for a certain school, make sure to include certain like traditions or quirks that typically only students know about. So just Google them and somehow include them, because that will show the admissions committee that you haven't just like superficially researched the school, you actually like the spirit of the school. Tip number 7, letters of recommendation. So typically you would ask a teacher where you've been one of the best students to write a letter for you, and a teacher who likes you. That makes total sense. But a strategy that is slightly different would be asking a teacher who really likes you, who you really like, who hasn't given you the best grade. So let's say you're not as good in math as another thing, so you didn't get that A. maybe they gave you a B or a C even, that can be a very, 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 very helpful letter of recommendation, because then the teacher can write, wow, Tina was not the best in my class, I'm not gonna lie, but I have never had a student with so much resilience and who did not let themselves, she was really not afraid to face her fear. And although she's not a genius in math, I'm not gonna lie, I have never seen a student who worked this hard. Like, imagine a letter of recommendation like this. So it will just show amazing qualities, because no one is perfect. And but showing that you as a student can accept not being perfect, that's just amazing. And also, when you have that bad grade on your transcript, it might actually excuse the bad grade, because now the admissions committee knows why you have that bad grade, but that you were still an amazing student. Tip number 8. Watch as many How I Got Into videos as you possibly can. Not to copy those people, but to learn from them. So write down their strategies, look at their applications, and maybe write down what you liked about them or maybe what you did not like about them. And, just to strategize for your own application. We're not talking about copying, we're just talking about inspiration and learning from other people's mistakes, but also successes. Okay, next day, Val is here. I don't know if I should record with my glasses. No, I should continue without them. Oh my god. Okay, we're okay. Tip number 9. Appreciate small, or also be humble. What I mean by this is that every student, every applicant tries to impress their admissions officer as much as possible. And that's just the natural thing, right? You want to get accepted, so you want to impress them. But remember that those admissions officers are people, and they're not robots who you just have to like get the highest score on the impress scale. And small things can sometimes also be very impressive. And it also shows when you showcase something small or just leave it as it is, that you are a humble person and that you don't need to be the leader in everything. Leadership is cool and shit, but they want to see people who can also just join clubs and be a part of them, and who don't need to be in the spotlight the entire time. Be cool, they're cool, so you can be cool too. Tip number 10, do not lie. They read so many applications that I feel like they are able to smell when something is fishy. So that should not be the reason why you get rejected. Like, that's such a stupid reason to get rejected, right? So let's just be honest, present ourselves as we are, and then let's get accepted to a college that is a right fit. Tip number 11. Take tests, like standardized tests, as early as you possibly can. You do not, like, if you're a senior in high school, being a senior and at the same time doing applications is really fucking exhausting, right? And you do not want to be taking SATs or ACTs or AP or whatever on top of all of that. So make sure that you are good with your time management, so that you hopefully have finished taking your SATs or whatever in 10th or 11th grade. So start as early as possible, so that later on you can fully focus on your application and on your senior grades. Yeah. Tip number 12. Be optimistic. Be a likable person. Especially in your essays. So try not to, I mean, it's a possibility, right? Like, you don't have to fake smile through everything. And if you've been through certain kind of hardship, of course, it's valid that you want to share that maybe, but still try to be as optimistic as you can. Like, even if you've had a bad experience, show how you came out on the other end, or show that you've not given up on the world yet. Imagine writing an essay that's like, yeah, the world sucks, like nothing matters and shit. Like, no, don't do that. Try to be a likable, optimistic person who brings energy into a room, and who makes other people laugh or smile. So, yeah. Tip number 13, try to write a real essay and not the best essay. There's no such thing as the best essay. These people read thousands of essays, tens of thousands of essays. It is difficult, first of all, to know what they have read before. So you don't know if what you wrote is original or not, right? You can't know that. So don't try to like impress them with some like weird story that is like super unique or whatever. Like, there was one kid one time who wrote about a shark attack, that he was attacked by a shark, and the admissions officer actually said that that was a very dull, unimpressive essay. And that's the same thing as the be humble thing, embrace small, especially in the essay. You can write about something simple and small. Um, and that might even be more impressive, because what they want to see in an essay is what kind of person you are, not how impressive you are. Tip number 14, have an open conversation with your teachers who will write your letters of recommendation, about what you want to be in it. I think like that for me is a no-brainer. So just what I mean, of course they're gonna be writing it for you, but tell them, for example, just talk to them about, for example, what the values at the colleges are that you're applying to. So what aspects about you should be kind of filtered out, so it's not like this generic letter of recommendation, but it's a letter of recommendation that's tailored toward the colleges you're applying to. And also, if you've had a good experience or a funny experience where you feel like, I would really like my teacher to share that, just tell them. Just be like, hey, do you remember when I gave that amazing presentation? Could you like write about that? I think that would be cool. Like something like that. Yeah. Tip number 15, consider having a friend write a friend letter of recommendation for you. Many colleges allow those, some even require those, and many, yeah, would like those. Like you know, um, so yeah, it just sheds a different light on you. It just shows what kind of friend you are, and I think that would just be very beneficial to showcase what kind of student and person, human, you would be on their college campus. And I just think it's like a cute, funny little quirk in your application when you're like, hey, you know what? Like, teachers and stuff, like, of course they have something interesting to say, but listen to my friend. I think that's just very sweet and a good idea. I did that. Yeah. Tip number 16. 16. Do not send anything extra to the admissions office. Something extra that's annoying is sending them a resume. Yeah, just sending them a resume. They know everything about you from your application. You don't need to give them more paperwork than they already have. You do not need to send more letters of recommendation from teachers, because you already sent in two, or whatever number the college requires. And they would be requiring or giving the option to send in more letters of recommendation if they wanted to. So only send in extra letters of recommendation if you think there's anything actually new in them, and if the college accepts them and wants them. Tip number 17, don't spam your application with miscellaneous facts. So, but that's different to the other, because that's actually within the application that you fill out. Um, if you have this like very clear persona, and just a bunch of things that are super well connected and that make a lot of sense, Don't clutter those amazing things with irrelevant things. Let's say you're a math super brain, then you don't have to write down that you like play tennis for fun. Um, I mean, you can do that, but I don't know, just consider not doing that to give them a clear picture of what is important about you. Tip number 18, read your school profile and see if there's anything in your school profile that needs further explanation. So let's say your school has a policy that you cannot take more than 3 AP classes each semester, um, but it doesn't say so in the school profile, then make sure to include that in the additional information section so that the admissions officers know, aha, she only took 3 AP classes every semester because she had to. She had no other option, right? So make sure you give them as much context as you can regarding to your schoolwork. Tip number 19, take creative risks with individual schools. So let's say you have this hobby, you write like short stories or something, but you're not too sure about them. Like you're not sure if they're good or not or whatever. And whether you should send them to the schools as supplements. Just consider doing it with a few schools, like 1 or 2 or 3, um, but not the others. And that way you have kind of this check and balances. If the schools like really hate those might deny you, but the others, like it didn't harm your application for the others. And the same you can do with other things, like you can send different essays to different schools, for example, and stuff like that. Tip number 20, the last tip for today. Focus more on community-based activities than single-player activities, because it's all cool if you have won a bunch of trophies doing something that's just kind of a one-person kind of activity. That's completely fine if that's your thing, but that's not more impressive than contributing to a community or to a group of people. Colleges always prefer community over individual achievement. Yeah, guys, that's it for today. I hope those 20 tips were helpful. If you want to see more college advice, just, go on my channel. I have a bunch of other videos. Yeah, give me a like or don't. I don't care. And I hope to see you soon. And I wish you the best of luck with your college journey, with your college application journey, and then your college journey. Okay, bye.